The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon and welcome to our Skills for Work and Life regular webinars. This is the second of our digital resources webinars, where in each quarter we walk through our digital resources that can support you through the learner functional skills maths and English journey. Our focus today will be on teaching and learning resources.
So just before we get started, there's a few usual housekeeping points. This session is being recorded. The slides and the recording will be available, and that is via our Maths and English Resource Hub, which can be found on our webpage, and that will be after today's session. We've put everyone on mute, and currently the question box is not available. But what we'll do is we'll turn that on towards the end of the webinar, and then we'll dedicate some time for that later on. And last but not least, if you're having any technical issues, please try logging out and logging back in. That seems to work and get everyone back on the system. If you do experience some sound issues through your computer, you can also join using the telephone, and all you have to do is select the phone call in the audio pane.
So on today's webinar, you have myself and Michelle. Hi, Michelle. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello to everyone. I'm Michelle Hairsign. I'm one of the digital solution managers at City and Guilds. Our role is to support customers to get the most out of our digital platforms through the demos and training that we offer at City and Guilds. I'll be here talking with Alicia today. So back to you.
Thank you. And as for me, my name is Alicja Twarowska, and I'm one of the two of your technical advisors. I work alongside Catherine Reed, and our role is to provide guidance and support across functional skills maths, English and digital, as well as employability and ESOL qualifications. Through the webinar today, we are going to focus on the delivery of functional skills, and we will take a deeper dive into the digital resources that support teaching and learning.
Sorry, I was on mute there. Sorry about that. So just before we get started with the main content of the session, what we want to do is start by carrying out a quick poll question like we usually do. And this gives us a flavour of the customers who are on the session today and what digital resources you are familiar with. So the question's been launched for you, and we want to know, are you currently using any of our digital resources? Tick those that you are currently using. So we've got Maths and English Smart Screen, eFunctional Skills or Boost, Open Assess, Centre Analytics, or not using any of the resources. And hopefully everyone's voting, so we'll give that a couple more minutes. For anyone who is not able to take part in the poll, please feel free to let us know when we open the question and answer box at the end of obviously the answers to any of these polls, or you can also contact us via our pre-employment email too.
Okay, so nearly everyone has voted. Maybe a few more seconds for anyone else that would like to participate. And then we will be closing that, and I'll share the results. Okay, right, so I'll close now, and I'll share the results. Can you see the results? Michelle, if you could confirm.
Yeah, we can see the results on there.
Okay, so as you can see, majority of you are not using our resources just yet, and some of you use Open Assess, Centre Analytics, and a few people the English and Maths Smart Screen. So hopefully you will be able to take something away from today's session and incorporate these resources a little bit more. Okay, right, so I'm going to hide that now and move on to the next part. So as we know, there are many stages a learner needs to take in order to achieve their functional skills qualification. And we have divided our learner's journey into 5 steps as highlighted on this slide. And we will go through all of them step by step in today's webinar, focusing on that middle part.
So starting with our step 1, which is analysing the learner's level and knowledge gaps, we went through this stage in October's webinar, and you can access the recording via the Maths and English webpage. And again, you'll find those resources in the Resource Hub area. There is also a link of the recording at the bottom of this slide too, when you access any of the resources, the slides from this webinar. So firstly, at this stage, we need to find out what level that learner will be working towards. And this is the start of the journey. They can actually take an initial assessment test using the City and Guilds e-functional skills platform, which is Boost. And just showing you Boost, what we've got for reference and a quick recap of this platform, this supports the initial assessment. And e-functional skills Boost is a paid for platform, which again will give you details of how you can get demos and further information. This platform is suitable for all learning programs, whether that is an online learning program, apprenticeships. Alternatively, it can be used in-house for face-to-face delivery too. It's designed to provide the opportunity to have an organised online learning experience for the learners. The resources provide the learners firstly with initial assessments, then analysing the level that they'll be working towards. It supplies multiple diagnostic assessments to determine the learner's areas of knowledge and skills gaps, where they may actually need further development on. From that, an individualised learning plan is produced and learners can work independently or in a classroom-based setting through their allocated work. So now, if I introduce step 2, which the learners move on to once they've completed their initial assessments and diagnostics, we are going to show you how City and Guilds resources can support your delivery and your learners. So this is where you can utilise our e-functional skills Boost platform and also the Smart Screen content by sharing the relevant resources with learners. As already mentioned, both resources allow you to develop both the face-to-face and online content to support learners' individual journey towards the achievement of each of those skill areas. So Alicia is going to demo the Smart Screen for you, and I will showcase the e-functional skills Boost platform after that.
Right, so once we know what level our learners are taking, we can plan the delivery and put together a scheme of work, some resources and activities. And this is where Smart Screen can really support you. So within this system, you simply choose your subject, so that's English or Maths, and then you can utilize the schemes of work or the resource guides that are provided. Just a note, both of these always link to the functional skills subject content statements. So you may simply want to pick the subject content statement you need to focus on, based, for example, on the diagnostic results, and then you choose your activities, worksheets, interactive activities or videos, which are all numbered and can be very easily located. So I'm going to open up the platform now and show you the abundance of the resources that are available, so you can tailor your delivery to suit your groups. So, right, so switching on to the Smart Screen page. So this is the landing page for Maths and English, and you can see it's a nice and simple layout. And you've got here your subject, so your Maths and your English. And then for the purpose of today's webinar, we're going to look at English Level 2. If you would like to see some examples relating to Maths, you can have a look at our webinar from December last year, where Catherine showed all the examples around Maths instead of English. So when I click onto the English section, you can see 3 sections here. So we've got the resource guides, we've got the schemes of work, and then finally the resource bank. And we're going to start with the schemes of work. Just opening that now, and it's loading. My internet has slowed down. Right, okay, here we go. So we have a scheme of work provided from entry 3 and up to level 2, and they cover activities, learning activities and suggestions of how to incorporate existing Smart Screen resources, as well as resources that are freely available online. Assessment preparation is also included, and we would like to encourage tutors to build this into the courses as much as possible. You can use these schemes of work as they are, or you can adapt them to suit your delivery needs. And we'll have a look at an example that at level 2. So level 2, you simply open that section, you click on the scheme of work and it automatically downloads. So I'm going to open it now. Oh, it moved to my other screen. So here we go. So this is the level 2 scheme of work, and each of the schemes of work will always start with an introduction that will outline the aims of this document and some generic information on how to use this resource. And this is followed by the full list of all the subject content statements against which your learners will be tested on. And these will cover speaking, listening, communicating, reading, and writing, obviously. And then as we scroll down, you can see the usual. So we're starting with the introduction and induction, and then moving on to the content delivery. So if we look at session or week number 3 as an example, there is a column outlining the topic and the skills areas covered. Then we've got some suggested activities and tasks. And then finally, in the next column, we've got the smart screen resources and other resources you may wish to use from YouTube or other free websites like skills workshops. So examples from Smart Screen will include videos, like in this case, all the Smart Screen resources, by the way, are in red. So you can see videos, you can see developing skills activities here, and resource guides, another activity here, interactive activities, and so on. So just to give you an example scenario, just to put it all into a context. So following a diagnostic assessment, majority of my learners struggled with 3 subject content statements in particular. So these are subject content statement 13, which covers implicit and inferred meaning, 16, which focuses on organizational skills, and 17 on bias. And these are mostly covered in week or session 12. So I'm just going to scroll down to that week now. Here we go, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So this is the week covering those subject content statements. So as you can see, there is an outline of suggested activities here and tasks, alongside Smart Screen resources and some skills workshop resources as well. So this page will give me an ideal starting point when I'm planning the lessons, as it will save me time and I don't have to start from scratch. And also, I forgot to mention that obviously you've got all the subject content statements listed on the right that are covered in this particular week. So we'll have a look at these activities in just a moment. So I'm going to show you this video 58 and activity 46, but just wanted to show you the resource guides first, as these are alternative documents to the schemes of work. So I'm just going back to the English page, and the resource guides are in the first place on the list here. And functional skills English. So these are, as I said, alternative to the schemes of work. So if you know which subject content statements you wish to focus on following a diagnostic assessment or a mock assessment, or even like if a learner fails, you know that they are struggling with these particular subject content statements, this document could be a good alternative, and whichever you use, scheme of work or this resource guide, is entirely up to you and depends on your approach. So from entry 1 up to level 2, and we're going to have a look now at the level 2 example. So again, I've clicked and I'm going to open, so it downloads straight away. And just like the scheme of work, a resource guide will start with an introduction, and you will also see all the skills on the left and which pages they are on, so you can go directly to the skill that you want to work on. The second page will cover all the subject content statements, just like the scheme of work for the recap. And then from page 3 onwards, we've got all the subject content statements in numerical order, alongside all the resources that are suggested from Smart Screen that you can use. And obviously we've got a bit of explanation on how to use these resources. So if we look at the 3 subject content statements that I've mentioned earlier, so that was subject content statement 13, 16 and 17. So for subject content statement 13, we've got, again, activity 46, comparing text, and then 16, we've got activity 50, and interactive activity 31, and then the video 58 to look at the bias subject content statement 17. So a really useful document focusing on each individual subject content statement. So how do we find these resources? So back to the English page, and I'm going to show you how to locate the resources. So they're all in the resource bank at the bottom of this page. When you click into this, you will see that they are grouped by type. So first of all, we've got activities, then interactive activities, videos, and then finally developing skills guidance and activities. So let's start with activities first. As I said, they're all numbered and in a number order, so very, very easily located. And then for English, we've got loads of them, 130 just for English. And we're going to have a look at activity 46, the one suggested in the scheme of work and the resource guide. So we've got a learner version, and we also have a tutor version. So let's have a look at the learner version first. So here we go. This particular resource will support with implicit and inferred meaning. And for each activity, as I said, learner version can be completed by the learners independently in class, or you can set it up as, for example, homework, or learners could complete as a group. It's all entirely up to you. So you can see the learners can read 2 texts here, and then there are some questions that follow the 2 texts. And because it's a Microsoft Word format, you can download it and print for the learners to complete on paper. They can also complete it online. And because it is a Microsoft Word format, you can also adapt these to suit your learners' needs. If needed, you can add to them, or you can delete any parts that are not relevant. And then tutors version, let's have a look at that. So here we go. Here is the tutor version. So that will give you an outline of the context, all the resources and additional equipment needed. And then we've got the tasks with suggested procedure and some ideas. Obviously, we've got the 2 texts that the learner can see. And following that, we've got the questions with answers indicated with some further suggestions as well. So really easy and nice to follow, a really great starting point in planning your lessons. Now I'm going to show you a couple of interactive activities. So again, all in numbered order. And again, can be completed individually or as part of a session or in groups, however whatever will work for your learners. Let's have a look at activity 50 first. So I'm just going to open that. You can see the previous attempts. As you can see, I've looked at this resource many times, and you can see the percentage of each attempt, and you can track the progress here. And as I enter, it will ask me if I want to resume or start from scratch. And we've got the questions here. So the learner will read and then select their answer, submit. They get the feedback and continue. And again, I'm obviously doing it randomly. This one is incorrect, so they can revisit that later on if needed. So this is a simple interactive resource, just a true or false. Let's have a look at another example, slightly more interactive. So 51 is the one that I've thought that could be useful for you. again, you could see that we could track the learners' attempts, and this has got a little bit more on this. All these interactive worksheets are actually voiced, so let's have a look.
Not everything you read will be straightforward.
So the learner can read, or they can listen to the instructions or explanations. This worksheet is really interactive, so engaging for the learners as well. They can read about fact, opinion here. Then they look at two texts to try to identify opinions, and then they can have a look at the examples highlighted here, and then they can have a go on their own to allocate where the opinions are. So let's have a look, for example, here and here, and they submit. It gives them the answer. Obviously, I've not clicked all the correct answers, so it prompts me to redo it again, so I can reset, and again, 1, 2, and maybe one more. And if I submit, this time I got it right, and it recaps all the information for the learner as well, so they can understand it better. And again, a bit more interactive, a few more interactive examples. And again, a question for the learner. They can submit and check their answers, and some time to recap at the end. So really nice and engaging and simple to follow resources that are on here. Let's have a look at an example video. Again, all numbered, easy to find. We had video 58 as one of the suggested ones in the scheme of work and the resource guide. So here is the video 58, and let's enter that. I'm actually amazed that my internet is working so well today. So really glad to see that. So we've got the video here. Let's see if it works. Okay.
When you're reading, it's really...
Okay, so it's working. So you can use that video to introduce bias during the lesson to the learners, and the learners can review that video as part of a recap. There is a transcript available as well for those that may need some extra support. Possibly ESOL learners could benefit from the transcript as well. So it's all very nice and supportive towards the learner. Right, so we've covered the videos and activities and interactive activities, and we've got one more resource type left, so developing skills and guidance activities. So these are available from entry 1 and up to level 2. I'm going to open an example at level 2 of the Rails. There is a learner version and a tutor version again. So these resources aim to improve all skills of the learner while building the confidence in different types of texts. And they also introduce learners to the assessment style questions as they reference to the criteria and standards they need to meet at that particular level. So here, this result starts with giving a bit of a context to the learner. So the learner will be writing an email to report and to talk about cleanliness on trains, and that this has deteriorated, and it tells the learners they will be focusing on organizing the writing to present ideas clearly, and also thinking how much information to include. So it all starts with the learner discussing or thinking about how to open and finish an email. And then we've got some example paragraphs for this email. The learners need to match the topic sentences to the paragraphs, so that gives them an idea on the content. Then they write their own version of that email, and then there is a bit of focus on spelling and on grammar, in this case passive voice, so really a lot. And then moving on to another topic, so again the same around trains and traveling, but this time the learners will be writing or focusing on report writing again, starting with planning, paragraphing, and so on. So really nice resource that covers all the skills the learners need to focus on. And there is a tutor version with all the suggestions and extension activities and answers available as well. So let's go back to our main presentation. right, internet for meeting. It's been working really well, but yeah, it has frozen a bit just now. Right, okay, just going to scroll through these as we've already covered that in the demo. So back onto this summary page. So I hope I have shown you how useful Smart Screen can be to you and your learners, and the abundance of the resources and guidance to save you time in planning and to support you and the learners in the specific areas highlighted, for example, in the diagnostic assessments. So I'll now hand over to Michelle, and Michelle will show you our second platform, Boost. So, right.
Thank you very much. If you'll just pass over
the
presenter to me, please.
Right, so change presenter, Michelle. I think it's with you.
Yeah, I'm just checking. I'm going to share my right screen. There we go. Hopefully that should be sharing for you now, and you can see my Boost homepage. Is that correct?
Yes.
That is absolutely brilliant. Thank you. So, sticking with that second stage of the learner journey, we've now gone on to the Boost platform. So this is our eFunctional Skills Boost platform. And this is basically, we're going to look at, although this platform has the initial assessments and everything within it, we showed that on the last webinar. So what I'm going to do is show you more sort of like link to the content side of things. So as a tutor on the Boost platform, you have access to all the different content under the Open a Course section. And then you are also able to look at the reporting aspect under the Review Reports icon. And then you've also got the yellow icon, which is Plan a Lesson. And this is an area where you can build lessons within the platform as well. So within the course, or within the platform, you have access to both courses. So you've got the City and Guilds, eFunctional Skills, English Reloaded, and then you've also got the maths in there as well. So for the purpose of today's demo, because we've been going through the English subject content statements, we're going to sit with that and we're going to go through into this area. Now, my internet might not play as well as what Alexia's did, so just bear with me as we're going through these. So coming into the English content, this is from a tutor's view. So as a tutor, you have access to all the resources within the platform. So you have a content list, and underneath here, you have the initial assessments, online versions, PDFs, and you have the answers as well. You have the diagnostics, and that again gives you all access to the E3, level 1 and level 2 sections, as well as the answers. And then you also have the resources. So you have entry level 3, level 1, and then level 2 resources. And if you notice under each of these different areas, you've got the breakdown into speaking, listening, communication, reading, writing, and then you've also got some support on spelling, grammar, and punctuation as well. So when a learner completes initial assessment and diagnostic within the platform will automatically allocate the appropriate resources to the learners based on where they've got those gaps in knowledge. So as a tutor, you don't need to do anything. However, you might identify that there's some extra areas that that learner maybe need help and support with. So what you're able to do is you're able to share extra content with the learner. And you can do that under any of the tiles. They all have these share buttons. So if you, for example, you identified the learner needed some extra help on this particular section, you'd be able to press share and share it with the learner. If you thought that they needed help with the whole section, like speaking, listening, and communication, you again got a share button within there as well. So you can really differentiate those learning plans for the learners based on not only the computer deciding where those gaps are, but you as a tutor as well complementing it. So as I've said, the learner will have an individualised learning plan, and that's based on the results of their initial assessments and diagnostic. But linking into sort of like the subject content statements that we've been talking about. So if you think a learner is maybe struggling on subject content statement 13, which is identify implicit and inferred meaning in text, the platform may have already allocated it, or if not, you can allocate it. So if we go under this particular section, under level 2, and then go into reading, within here we have a section, implicit and inferred meaning. So I can click into here. These are all the resources that are going to support that learner. So what you have within this bank of resources is you have some learning, you then have some tasks to put that learning into practice, and then you have some test your knowledge. There is a range of learning materials within here and activities. So what we've got here is when under the topic area of the implicit and inferred meaning, you have an introduction and explanation, and this is as form of a presentation. And then what you have also to support that is you have that same information which is in a presentation, but you have it in a text version as well. So you have it as a PDF document. And I've got some of them already open to show you as we're just going through the demo. What you've also got underneath here as well is you then get from the explanations, you go into the worked examples. So for example, on the presentation for worked examples, when the PowerPoint opens, not only does it show you the presentation when it opens up, and it's just resuming from where I left off last time, so it'll just see in a minute. So it comes up with the presentation. I'm not sure if you can hear that with the sound, but there is a presenter also giving the information based on what's on the screen. So again, a bit like the smart screen resources, a learner could work really suitably on here independently with this learning material, or again, it could be supported with a tutor going through, obviously, the material. So within here, like I said, you've got some presentations. The learner would do the learning based on, obviously, the introductions, explanations, worked examples. And then what they would do is they would do the tasks. So basically, they're putting that knowledge into practice. So just to show you the example of the tasks in the interactive form. So what you've got here is you've got 8 questions coming up. Sorry, 3 questions coming up at 8 points. So what we've got within here is we've got an area of text, which obviously the learner reads through. And then they've got multiple choice questions down here to answer to show if what they've learnt previously is going in. Then same on question 2, some more text. And then they've obviously got to write answers in this particular area. And the same on question 3, read the text and answer some more questions. And then they're able to exit the activity and submit it. So when the learners are completing any of these interactive activities, what's happening is it's generating reports for you as a tutor to be able to see if they're making progress with the activity and obviously understanding that particular topic area or content. The last part of the learning or the testing the knowledge side of things is these interactive activities where it says test your knowledge. And again, the learner would come into here and they would test their knowledge on this particular topic area. So that's linked to subject content statement 13. So also it was mentioned about subject content statement 16, which is understand organisational features and use them to locate relevant information in a range of straightforward and complex sources. So staying with the level 2 level and sticking with reading, what we've got within here is we've got an area for locating information. So again, within here, you have the same sort of idea of your learning elements, putting those learning into practice in the tasks, and then obviously testing the knowledge as well. There is answers within all of this area as well, obviously as a teacher resource. So within here, I've also got one of the PDF documents open. So if I just show you that on my screen, if you've got a learner who prefers maybe more sort of like a read-write approach and likes maybe having a hard copy, taking notes and things like that, again, what you've got here. So again, this goes through about skimming, locating information, and then just carries on going through. That complements the other material within here. So that one which I was just showing there was the worked examples, and that presentation here will have exactly the same information as what that PDF text has got in there. Again, something like the test the knowledge for the interactive activity for this comes up again in the same format. Again, I'm just starting it as a new one, and you've got 6 questions in here. The learner obviously reads the question, answers, and then goes on to the next. And then again, they can obviously go via the next question, or they can also work through the left-hand side of the platform as well. So question 2 there about scanning, skimming again, and so on. So that obviously all links in with the subject content statement 16. And again, the other area that we'd mentioned was subject content statement 17, which was analysing text of different levels of complexity, recognising their use of vocabulary and identifying levels of formality and bias. So again, for this, it would be under level 2, because that's the area we're at, reading, and the area where it would link it into is, let me just, where am I looking? There we go, analysing text. There we go. And again, you've got all those resources. So what I'm showing you there today is obviously just a very small snippet of obviously 3 content statements and the resources that are sat within there for level 2. It is all available for English and all the other levels. And then again, the same on the under the maths area. It's all broken down into sort of like the topic areas. So just moving back to the home page a second. Obviously, that's linked to the sort of like what the Boost platform can do with regards to content. There is also the option of being able to view reports and be able to sort of like see progress of learners. So going into the pink icon, view reports, within here you have 4 reports which you can pull. And these can be generated based on individual learners or groups and classes that you make and create within the platform. So the report that I'm going to particularly show you today is one that customers tend to sort of like to use. And this is the gap analysis one. So ignore this first step, because in your platform, it wouldn't have this step. It's just because of the site that I'm on to do with how we demonstrate things. But for this part of it, you would find your learner. So you'd put your learner's details in here. So just bear with me a second. My learner is Minnie Mouse. So I'm going to click on Minnie and then generate the report there. What you can see here within all of the reports, it's exactly the same. What you get is you get a graph coming up at the top. So it's very visual when you first obviously do any of the reporting side of things. The report down here is showing different areas, areas 1, areas 2 and area 3. Area 3 is the learning and the development. So this would continue to have more topics as the learner goes through the different topic areas. You can not only see the learner score here, but you can also base it on the school average for your particular learners, so all your learners within the platform. And then moving down, you also have a table format of what's happening in area 1, area 2 and area 3. So again, you can see this RAG rating colour-coded system, which helps you identify progress being made, hopefully seeing that learners are going more from the red and the ambers or the oranges, and going to sort of like more the greens, being ready for the test. Area 1 is linked to the initial assessment outcomes. Area 2 is linked to the diagnostics, and area 3 is linked to the learning side of things. Within here as well, anything under the diagnostics section where a learner has got a red or an orange area, if you notice here, they've got a resource section. So sorry, I have to move that down a bit. Recommended resources. What happens there is the platform has identified that this learner needs some help on all of these different topic areas. Now, again, at this moment in time, I'm just showing this report from a maths side of things, just so you can see. So this learner is working towards level 2, but they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 subject areas that they need to work on, basically based on the results that they've come at. So they might be a bit low level and obviously need some extra support. The platform will have all their learning in their to-do list, and the learners will just be able to go and click into their to-do list and learn about data handling, learn about formulas, number and number systems, and so on. So that's obviously just a little bit of an idea about reporting. There is also the option of downloading the reports. And again, just in case the computer wasn't working, I've already done one. So you can just see here, this is how the report would come out. Again, very color-coded, showing those 3 different sections. Initial assessment, diagnostic, and then that learning side of things. So as I've just said, very little time today, so that's just one of the reports. And I just want to show you one more area on the Boost platform, linked into sort of like the lesson builder section. So that's under the yellow icon. So what you can do within here is you can build lessons and share them with learners, and they will go into their to-do list. So these can be completed independently with learners based on maybe areas that they need help and support, or as a tutor, you can also share it with the learner, and you can also display it yourself, maybe as part of a remote lesson on something like Teams, or you can also display it on a whiteboard as well. So if I'm just going to show you one of our lessons that we've got today under test lesson, just to really quickly give you a quick overview of what you can build within here. So what you've got here is you've got sections. So these are the blue areas. So you can build sections within your platform. So first of all, it's about the starter activity on formulas, and you give instructions to the learners. Complete this task to show what you know about formulas, and then the task is here. And then the next section is the content on formulas, and again, it tells you here to read through the work and resources to develop your understanding. All these resources that I've popped into this particular lesson can be added using this button here. So you're creating new sections there and adding the resources there. These can be resources which are from within the platform, or your own resources as well can be added. And again, just as an example, the last section might be checking what the learners have learned, and it might be a little task for them to complete on that section. Within here, again, you have that share button to be able to share that resource and lesson with the learners. And then you also have a play button if you were playing it either sort of like remotely on Teams or with learners within a classroom basis. So that is just a really quick overview of obviously what Boost can do to support your e-functional skills delivery, and obviously your learners working on the areas where they've got gaps in their knowledge. Later on in the webinar, I'll give you some more information on how you can book a further demo on this platform if you want to see it a little bit more and see what it would do for obviously your organisations. So I will now pass over back to Alicia, and I'm just going to see if I can do that at my end. There we go. Should be coming back to yourself.
Yeah, thank you. Can you just confirm if you can see my screen?
I can see your screen now, yeah.
Excellent. All right. Okay, so once you are happy that your learner is becoming exam ready, you will need to decide if they will be preparing for an online or a paper exam. So we will briefly outline this stage now. However, we will cover it in more depth in our next digital resources webinar in March. So to practice exams and do mocks on paper, the Boost platform contains PDF sample tests, and these can be all downloaded and then completed. And we also have sample online writable PDF papers on the 4748 qualification page.
Sorry, I keep forgetting to unmute myself. So now on to Open Assess. For those learners who'll be taking online tests, we have our Open Assess platform. So Open Assess is a free online sample practice platform where learners can familiarise themselves with the navigation of online tests and also the tools that can be used or are going to be used within the testing platform. It can be used as part of your delivery to demo how to use the tools using the navigation test within Open Assess. And then learners can also complete the navigation test too. And then this will give you an idea to see if online exams are going to be suitable for your learners. Tutors can then also allocate an online sample test to the learner, and then after completion, these can be retrieved and then marked. The system completely mirrors the Evolve platform, so the learner gets the key codes, gets the pins, and you allocate them to the learner. They go into the platform, they do the practice test, they submit it, and then you can retrieve it and mark it. Following this, the tutor can then schedule a candidate review to ensure that you've gone through where the learner has made errors and obviously give some advice, guidance on further learning. You can choose sample paper versions if you want the learner to sit, and you can possibly resit the same paper to check obviously their understanding and further learning. But just to note that if you are wanting to choose the same sample paper versions, you have to have marked their previous attempt before being able to submit another test to them of the same one. There is a new Open Assess user guide available as well, along with some support webinar that will walk you through using the platform. And these are both being included in the links on the slide, which will be available after today's webinar.
Right, so when it comes to taking the actual live test, the learner has two options, as already mentioned. And firstly, there is the more traditional approach of paper-based exams, And secondly, there is our Evolve platform that Michelle mentioned, and this is our on-screen testing solution. It only needs 30 minutes notice, but please do bear in mind that your organization may have their own processes, so they may need a little bit more notice. This option can offer more flexibility as the exam can be carried online, or it can be downloaded to a PC or laptop, taken offline and then uploaded after the exam. This can also be a flexible, secure way for learners to carry out assessments at different locations, but do ensure that all exam procedures are adhered to as set out in our ICE document. And ICE document is the instructions for conducting examinations document. And just to reiterate also at this point before we move on, all of our tests are available on demand, and we offer a live remote invigilation service which we will outline in just a moment.
So just before we dive into remote invigilation and what it actually is, we want some insights from yourself. So we'd like to find out from you on one of our polls again. Are you aware that we offer a remote invigilation service? So 2 options here, yes or no. And again, it's just to see how many people have heard of it or not, and hopefully the information that follows will be informative for you.
Right, so we're just going to give it maybe 1 more minute. Most of you have voted, but just waiting for maybe a couple more people. It's interesting to see. Okay, so I'm going to close the poll now. Okay, and share the results. Michelle, can we see the results? Can you just confirm?
We can, yeah.
Okay, so fantastic. So most of you are aware of our remote invigilation service, but a few of you are not. So we're just going to do a quick overview of that. Okay, right. So let's move on. So our remote invigilation service allows for tests on our Evolve platform to be taken from home or the workplace, providing learners more flexibility and removing the need to travel for tests. We provide an invigilator who supervises a learner using audio-visual streams and AI. They also provide technical support as required and can pause or terminate the test if they see any suspicious behavior. For more information about our remote invigilation services, please visit our website. And if you're new to the service, our Digital Solutions Manager can provide a training session on candidate preparation to help staff understand what is required in preparing for this service. Please let us know in the questions section of this webinar later on today if you would like to book onto this training.
So now looking at Centre Analytics. So once a learner has sat a test, this is where your Centre Analytics can be utilised. And this platform again is free to use. The platform enables you to look into the candidate's performance data from any test or exam delivered through the Evolve platform. So that includes any of the functional skills exams delivered on screen. It is in addition to the score reports that you get issued to individual candidates ahead of their formal confirmation of results, but allows you to look for patterns or trends. For example, if a candidate is maybe consistently losing marks against a particular subject content statement, you can identify it, obviously using Centre Analytics. It is possible to use Centre Analytics to look up performance codes and actual raw marks for candidates completing paper functional skills exams too. The performance codes have always been printed on the paper notifications of result sheets, and there is a glossary or explanation document that you can find on the functional skills qualifications document page that explains what each of these performance codes means. However, now Centre Analytics enables these codes to be accessed in electronic format along with the candidate's actual mark. We will be doing a walkthrough of this platform in the next digital resource webinar in March next year, so you'll get to see more then.
So after using Center Analytics, I will know what areas I need to work on with my learner and if they need to do a resit. And if that's the case, I can go through steps 3 and 4 again. So learners who have successfully completed their functional skills qualification will be issued a certificate, and an e-certificate is available on the walled garden as well. And in addition to the certificate, each learner is also entitled to a digital credential.
So again, with that in mind, before we go into the digital credentials, we just want a little bit of insight again from yourselves to find out where you're aware that learners will be allocated a digital credential once they've finished their functional skills exam and pass it. So again, it's just on a yes or no basis. And obviously we do mention this and like the remote invigilation side of things on most of the webinars, but again, from those last results, it sees that the information's obviously getting out to everybody now, because that was really good results. So hopefully should be the same for digital credentials. Alicia, is it coming?
Yeah, so let's close the poll as nearly everyone has voted, and I'm going to share the results now. So as you can see, most of you are aware of digital credentials, but we've got a few of you that are not. So I'm going to do a quick overview of that as well, because it's a really useful thing. So for those of you who are not aware of digital credentials, these are a digital representation of a skills achievement, and they are shareable and informative. And by one click, you can show an onlooker all the metadata and the detail for the standards that have been met to achieve this credential. In order for a learner to claim this digital credential, you will need to add their email address in walled garden, although this is not a mandatory field. Once they are successful in gaining their, for example, functional skills qualification, they will receive an email from a platform called Credly, and Credly will invite them to accept the digital credential, and from there they can claim their digital badge, which can be shared across social networks, for example, LinkedIn, and embedded into their profiles, websites, email footers, blogs, or digital CVs, whatever they like.
So we hope that today's webinar has been informative for you, and that we have shown you that City and Guilds can provide support and add value at every point of that learner journey, whether that be initial assessments, through the variety of teaching and learning resources we have, building the learner's confidence during exam practice, or giving you the confidence to track the learner's journey by using the resources we have highlighted today. We will just be finishing off the session with some further slides and also our question and answer section. And that area should now be open in the panel for you to start adding your questions in. Yep, it's open for you now.
Yeah, I have opened the question box now, so you can start adding your questions. And in the meantime, just a quick reminder. So as technical advisors, myself and Catherine offer in-person support through our Connecture network sessions, which are all face-to-face and are free for you as City and Guilds customers. You can access the dates and locations of the events and webinars and network, on the events, webinars and network webpage. And I have added the link on this slide on the right. And these sessions will continue throughout the year and in different locations, and we keep adding them to the website. So please do keep checking if you're interested, or if you would like to host an event, you can also get in touch with us on the pre-employment inbox. We also have our virtual link-up sessions, which are our online model of the events, and these are a little bit shorter, but they will give you a chance to connect and share with others. So feel free to sign up for one of these if you cannot make it to one of our face-to-face events.
So our digital solutions team are happy to support customers with demos and training on all our e-functional skills platform, should be saying on our e-functional skills platform Boost, but also we have other digital platforms that we support on as well. So we've got EPA Pro, we have Learning Assistant, Smart Screen, Remote Invigilation, Walled Garden, Evolve, Open Assess and Centre Analytics. You can visit us on the City and Guilds website under Our Offer, Centres, Improving Teaching and Learning, and from here there is a form that can be completed at the left-hand side of the web page. Within the presentation slides, there is also a QR code that you can now scan, and that can retrieve the same form which can be filled in. We will then be in contact to support you with your needs as per what you've completed on the form.
Okay, so the question and answer box is open now for anyone to ask any questions you may wish. There are no questions at the moment, so we're going to give it a few more minutes to see if anyone wants to ask any question. But if you would like to get a written response, you can also email us at the pre-employment inbox, where myself and Catherine will be able to support as well. Michelle, it looks like we've covered all the relevant information, as there are no questions coming just yet, but there might be some. Maybe in the meantime, we can cover the last couple of slides, but we can go back to the questions if any of these appear as well.
Brilliant, thanks. So now, to ensure that obviously you've got all the right points of contact, there's just some information on the slide now. So for further platform queries, you can contact digital.solutions@cityandguilds.com. For any existing platform customer queries, you can contact our digital support team on digitalsupport@cityandguilds.com. If you need any further information regarding digital credentials, then please contact dcsales@cityandguilds.com. And then for any queries relating to functional skills, you can contact the Maths and English team on free-employment@cityandguilds.com. We've also included a link on the slides to the resource hub, where you can find recordings and any slide decks from previous webinars, and then this one too as well after today's session.
Okay, Michelle, we've got two questions from Michelle as well in the question. So the first one is a request that Michelle would like to attend the training in the remote invigilation. So Michelle, would you like to advise whether Michelle needs to email you or how you want to go about that?
Yep, certainly. So Michelle, what you can do is, if you see on the slide that's on at the moment, if you just basically send an email to that digital.solutions@cityandguilds.com, and within there you can obviously request that you want the remote invigilation training. So if you just pop in there your centre number and obviously maybe some times and dates when you'd like to get this training booked in, one of the digital solutions team will be in touch and we'll get that booked in. And if you're also wanting to find out that if you registered for using SmartScreen, if you send that information again to the digital.solutions inbox with your centre number, please, what we can do is we can have a look on the system and we can get the back admin team to just double check if you already have sort of like a SmartScreen resource. And then from that, if you want a demo, we can obviously set that up for you and then obviously go from there. So hopefully that answers those questions for you.
Mm-hmm. We've got another question from Michelle. So are you able to choose a specific mock exam paper in Open Assess? So there is a number of mock papers on Open Assess for both English and maths. So you are able to choose which mock you want to assign to your learner or learners. So yes, that is possible.
And then I think Michelle's just come back with her centre number, and then obviously she's said that she'll contact us using the inbox, because then we can just obviously keep a track of it.
Right, Michelle would like a demonstration on how to access there and choose specific mock exam papers. Could that be covered in that training as well, Michelle?
Yeah, again, what we can do is we could actually do an Open Assess. We do an Open Assess training session. And again, what we can do is go through exactly how to set that up and everything. So we'd show how to allocate the papers, whichever paper you want, to whichever learner. We show you how to do the candidate review, how to mark it and everything. So what I would say to Michelle is maybe send across an email with all the bits and bobs that you want sort of like help and support with. And then it'll either be one digital solution manager will pick it up, or a few different ones might pick it up who specialise in different areas. So we can obviously support you across all those different areas, not a problem at all. That's what we're there for.
Thank you, Michelle. And the other Michelle, thank you for the questions. Yeah, really important to get the support that you're entitled to use these and to utilize these platforms efficiently and effectively to make your lives easier at the end of the day. Let's see if anyone else has got any other questions, but I can't see any more in the chat box, in the question box, sorry. Okay. So it just remains to say thank you so much for taking the time in joining us today. We will be running our next digital resources webinar on Thursday, the 7th of March at 3 in the afternoon, and we will focus on being exam ready in that webinar. The date and registration link will be published on our website in the next few weeks, so do come back to the website. And we will also run another Maths and English webinar on 11th of January in the morning at 11. And the topic will be on the support with curriculum planning, so slightly different. And the registration is already available on our events webpage. So we will keep this webinar running for a couple of minutes more, just in case you have any further questions or queries that you would like us to answer or to take away. If not, then thank you again, and we hope to see you next time. And it's a goodbye from all of us. Thank you.